So, Terry, I was just thinking about how good this off-season is. There's rugby league every weekend.
Yeah, but it's finished now. Everyone, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Rugby League Outlaws, brought to you by the good people at Top Sport. Don't forget to like and subscribe everywhere you can.
What do you mean it's finished?
There's no more games.
Till the next tournament kicks off, right?
Yeah, in March.
So we got an actual off-season?
Well, judging by this run sheet, no.
Look, there's still things happening, but I want football.
No.
This past Friday night was the worst Friday night of my life. There was no football, and there was no football on Saturday. I just hate it so much.
Let's get into the news. By the time you see this, it was Monday. A tweet went out saying that the NRL are proposing a new kickoff rule that if the ball goes past the 20-metre line, there will be a 7-tackle set. And that was met with a huge outcry. Everyone was like, just turn the game into touch football. Yeah. Make it like the NFL where you can just wave the catch off. Yeah. Whatever it is. What were your thoughts when you saw that?
I thought, what are you doing, was my original thoughts. I just want to go on record, Terry, and say, stop reacting to shit that happens once or twice. How many concussions did we see last year off the kickoff? What, 2?
Oh, a few more than that.
See, okay, do not get me wrong. I don't want to see players concussed.
No.
The safer you can make the game, the better. On the other side...
Headgears and mouth guards.
Yes. Also, every single tackle that's ever taken place in football ever can lead to a concussion, an injury, or worse. Taking this, if you kick it 20 metres and the wind's blowing this way and the lights are this afternoon, you get a 7-tackle set. No referee's going to remember that.
They also said if it goes on the full. So what you would see is someone like, I know he's left the NRL now, but someone like Valentine Holmes, who's got a pretty powerful boot, would just kick it along the ground.
Yes.
They would just boot it.
And it would be the same. It is so dumb. Now, the NFL has worked because the majority of kicks go for what's called... Oh, I'll restart. I'm just going to dumb it right down. It's touchback.
Yeah.
It goes in the in goals. They kneel down. They go back to the 30, right? It used to be the 20 or 25, whatever. Same as college rules. Okay, it's brought the collisions down. But these blokes are running from 60 metres, pretty much unchecked. You can get in their way, but you can't really get in their way. And they're getting hammered. There was injuries. Both teams are running like this. You get the big collision, and then you get another collision straight after when they're coming from 10 and 10 metres. This is dumb. This was... met with the absolute, are you kidding me? They want short kickoffs all the time because they want the
entertainment,
ball. I like short kickoffs. I think they're fun. But saying you can't do this or you're going to get a 7-tackle set, just make it 7 tackles. Forget 6, it's 7 now. That's what it said to me. Dumb.
Well, I saw someone turn around and go, why don't they just make it like rugby union and do drop kicks off restarts? You know you can do that.
Yeah.
You can literally just place the ball on the ground and kick it. Yeah. You can drop kick it. Right?
It's an optional restart.
It is an optional restart, but yeah, I was very, very pleased to read Zach Bailey's tweet when it came out about how the NRL weren't even thinking about that and they don't know how that got out in the media. Well, that's because the NRL were thinking about it, and when they realised they probably got bombarded by thousands of emails, calls, tweets.
Us.
Yeah.
They knew we'd be talking about it here.
Yeah, they were like, the last thing we can do is give these guys some more ammo at us. And guess what? You did.
Look, you did. Now, I want to offer up a much easier suggestion. I want to actually suspend players who head high other players. I found it extremely funny that the bloke who just had Jared Warrior-Hargraves get off 100 times this year, and Big Nelson too, come out and say, I want players suspended. Easy now that your big bulldozer's gone over to England. If you head high a bloke and you can cuss him and you put him out, you don't get a fine. You don't get a second fine, a third fine, and then grand final week, boom, 8-week suspension. You get a suspension when you deserve it. That, to me, makes people think, maybe I shouldn't do that.
And then if it's your second offence, you tack on a week. If it's your third offence, you tack on 2 weeks.
Do you see how quickly we fix that without none of this ridiculous 7-tackle?
There was also just another way that would be really boring to restart the game, but it's just to play the ball on 0 tackle on the 10-metre line.
That may be where we're headed.
I reckon
if you're not going to kick it short, just take it from the 20.
Or the other option is it's just like it's a line dropout. They just play they take a tap on the 20-metre line. It's a 7-tackle set. Win-win either way. That's where we're heading. That's where we're heading. Now, Dan, you have put on here that the Tigers are getting serious.
Should have a question mark, but
because they put 5 players on breach notice for being unfit when they return to training.
Yep.
Yeah, miss me with that.
I want to play devil's advocate because,
Go for it.
Being the obvious Tigers fan that I am, I want them to get serious because I'm sick of them being really bad. It's embarrassing for the game. Tigers fans, take that personally. You deserve it. Your team's terrible. For Benji Marshall to come out and say these 5 players have obviously been told don't come back unfit. They've come back unfit and he's breached them. Shows, look, we got a leader now in Jerome Luai. We got a great player in Jerome Luai. We got pretty much the entire Panthers setup. It's time to be like the Panthers, which I don't think is silly, being that they keep winning and winning easily. And now no one knows who these 5 players are. No one cares. It's not going to do anything, but it sends a message that maybe it's time to get serious. Now, I do want to counteract that by saying last time Madge Maguire told that, they wrist-sold him because it got too hard. I think they've learned lessons since then, though.
Yeah, I think they've learned lessons as well. Look, I'm all for it. Breach your players if they come back 5 kilos overweight or they can't complete the 10K or, you've told them, all right, on the last day of training, you completed 11 on the beep test, you're going for an off-season, you've got to come back, you're going to complete 9 if they can't do it. Don't run to the media about it.
That was pretty dumb.
Yeah, don't run to the media and say, hey, look what we're doing now, because the first 30 comments about that was like, you're 15 years too late for doing this and trying to look like a serious club now. The other thing as well is, I wouldn't breach them on day 1 of training.
Yeah, that's pretty dumb. But
Yeah.
he's trying to send a message.
Yeah, I get that he's trying to send a message as well, but you're back at training, you're back at preseason, you breach them if they're still not putting in.
Yeah, I agree. A lack of effort. I like where they're going because it shows they're getting somewhat serious. Do not get me wrong. This will not change anything. If these 5 players leave tomorrow, no one will know.
Yeah.
I like the fact that the Dragons said...
Unless it was Lachlan Galvin.
Well, yeah, then they would care. Then I bet you they wouldn't breach him.
Yeah,
Next time you think about doing this, young man, earlier in the week, the Dragons are like, look, we'll let Ben Hunt go. We need a 5'8". And the Dragons said, we got one. You want Bud Sullivan? Now, the Dragons were smart enough to say, no.
Yeah.
No returns. But the fact that they offered shows that they know he's garbage and they try to get rid of him. They're trying to wrestle old mate out the club, the English bloke, Bateman.
Yeah.
They don't want him back.
He's probably one of the ones they breached. I guarantee.
You're breached. They haven't even done it. You're breached.
We've just figured 2 of the 5 players they breached.
So there you go. We're doing a lot of the God's work here. But I like it because I want to see more from Benji.
I like it how the Tigers turned up with their receipt going, 12-month warranty. And the Dragons like, nah.
We'll pay half.
Yeah, no way. Look, sticking with the Tigers at the moment, they have met with Terrell May, as have the Canterbury Bulldogs and the St George Dragons. Now, the report came out and said that Terrell May walked away from the Tigers meeting more impressed than any other club, and that Jerome Luai was at the meeting. He was present. He's got ties with the May's family and everything else. It should have been done then.
Yeah, that's fair.
This deal should be done.
Yeah, I have a thought on that. But
now I think it will be done. Yeah, I think Terrell May will end up at the Tigers. And I think it's a great signing for them as well. It's exactly what they need in their pack after they've lost Stefano.
Yep.
But Terrell May, if he was impressed, the Tigers should have pushed for that contract then and there, because he's now gone back to Canterbury and gone back to St George and said, well, I was really impressed with them. Give us that.
What do you got?
Give us the money. It's going to cost the Tigers more than they banked on here.
I think he's played it.
He's played it really well.
But I also think he wishes he could go back and say, yeah, I'll play.
Yeah.
When they asked him, whatever happened at the Roosters, whatever happened. Because if you look at those 3 teams, now in terms of quality, I think the Bulldogs are far ahead.
Yep.
I think the Dragons are an absolute basket case. More on that later. And I think the Tigers are in a rebuild, but they've been in a rebuild for 12 years. It hasn't gone anywhere. I think he'll end up with the Tigers, so I think it makes the most sense. If I were him, I'd be pushing for the Dogs. But I think he's just waiting for the likes of a Cronulla or a Melbourne to go, you know what, actually...
Yeah.
Or he would have signed by now. Just quite... In terms of the signing, I think the Tigers need
I think he's looking at it as if I've probably got until Christmas. Yeah. Has he actually been released from the Roosters?
I don't think so. I don't think
he's been released from the Roosters.
And he's on a fair clip.
Yeah.
Like, not huge, and his new contract doesn't kick in.
He can dig in. He has every right to dig in and say, actually, no.
Yeah.
I've just re-signed with you. I'm staying. Now, he's obviously going... I don't know whether he's going to get significantly more money or whatever it is, but I think you're right. I think he's waiting for more of a contender to come in and just be like, maybe he's waiting for Penrith. Because Penrith need a prop.
They do, and there's a little bit of money there. Now, I think, with the greatest respects to those other three clubs, he might take unders to go to Penrith. Mm-hmm. It's already come out that he doesn't see a long future in the game. Mm. Is he going to wait 5 years at the Tigers for a pinch hit title? Look, watch his space. It's fun. I enjoy it. The Tigers need to get this done, because if they hear that in the media... By the way, them announcing no more leaks via a leak in the media, typical Tigers. If they miss out on this after he said that publicly... Mm-hmm.
Now, the Roosters, we're talking about Terrell May, they have come out with a clean out. They've told Brandon Smith he's free to pack his bags. Yeah. Is that for this coming season, or they're just not going to renew his contract?
Well, I think it's the latter, but I think if he gets somewhere, he's gone. Terrell May's gone. Mm-hmm. They've resold both their centres. Mm-hmm. They didn't fight to keep either by the look of it. Let them go to rugby. They're looking like... Well, Ben Hunt's just sitting there saying, please don't make me go to Queensland. I think him for Smith's a pretty fair trade. They're loading up the mother of all war chests for next year, though. You look at that Roosters outfit and you think, yeah, they'll be okay this year. You know, maybe a little bit better than okay, being that they're the Roosters.
I mean, who are their centres? They're Billy Smith and Michael Jennings?
Yeah, but then you look and you think, they've got about $6 million for the year after, and the amount of ridiculous talent off contract.
Is there a lot?
Well, they'd want to be for the Roosters. Yeah, there is. But if you start looking at the Roosters going, oh, next year, what about this year? Suddenly you're like, God damn it. No one signed for the Roosters.
Please.
Make it a pact.
I reckon what the Roosters are doing is getting that Kalen Ponga war chest to go to him and see if he can get that release from Newcastle.
Let's do this now, the Bradman Best war chest.
Yeah.
I don't think they haven't spoken to Ronaldo.
Yeah.
They never down for too long, Terry. Nope. Let's call a spade a spade. They've lost millions of dollars of talent. They've got millions of dollars just sitting there. They've got a centre pairing that you just made fun of. Not me. I would never.
We didn't even make fun of their halves pairing.
They're going to sign some goddamn players.
Sandon Smith and Chad Townsend will be their halves pairing in round one if Ben Hunt does not go there.
Well, Sandon Smith might not even be there. It could be Chad and Jesse Marshke for all we know.
No, but he's not there.
Oh, well. Do you want who we got that we don't know? We like all our players now. Chad. Yeah. and they signed Rodwell too. He'll probably score 1,000 tries.
Now down the Australian side.
Victorious.
Unconvincingly against Tonga, I thought.
Yeah, they were 40 points up, took the foot off the pedal.
The Tongans were very, very good in that game. Made
what an atmosphere, man.
Would have been great to go to.
Yeah. Could get tickets. We're not Tongan.
Now, this Australian side going forward will look nothing like that in the future.
Yeah, you look at it and you think, okay, Tom Dearden played well, yeah, but Nathan Cleary. You think, oh, you know, Moses was okay, but Cherry Evans, Munster. Yeah. Reece Walsh probably going to put for fullback position. I thought Edwards was okay. He copped a lot of grief. I don't really understand.
He only copped grief from one person. Let's just face it.
No, there were a few. But I like the side that they picked, given that it was probably the only team that they could have picked.
Yeah.
I like the wingers. You got to think World Cup year coming up. They're going to England for the Ashes. Probably a few more players and be like, you know what, my knee doesn't quite hurt as much this year.
I'm not going to get married this year.
Yeah, I think I'll go and play. And there'll be a couple of players who will remember their Australian heritage.
Yeah, so that was my next question for you. Is you have a look at the Samoan team that went over to England, and that was a very, very strong Samoan team, and they were handled by England very comfortably.
Yep.
What do you think that does for someone like Stephen Crichton and Brian Toto if Mal Meninga comes knocking on the door saying, look, you've accomplished everything in the game but a World Cup win, and you're not going to do it with Samoa?
True. They did make the World Cup final last time.
And were not in the game.
No, they weren't, but Crichton and Toto, probably the two players that don't return the call because they've got 1,000 premierships. The young players that don't...
They've won everything in the game, but... They haven't even won a series yet.
No.
They lost the series.
The call will be made, and it'll probably be answered. Crichton and Toto probably not. But if they need a 5'8", Luai, does he come play for Australia? I'd like to think not, because I want the...
Well, no, I don't think he's going to answer Cam Munster, because Cam Munster in a rep jersey is just Cam Munster in a rep jersey, right?
But maybe. I don't think the sides are going to look that way. that Australian pack, again, with the greatest respect, probably missing 5 or 6 players.
Yeah.
You know, Payne Haas and Tino are your first choice props.
Payne Haas, Tino, Liam Martin were not playing.
Yeah.
And that Australian team was not challenged.
No, and Lindsay Smith got his token 6 minutes. Did well, but probably not in the top 50. Yeah, I want to congratulate Mal for winning. I've always said that international football is better after Australia lose. Now to come back and win in the revenge. They've done that now. With a side that, let's be honest, looking at the Kiwis, let's be honest, Tonga were probably at full strength.
Yeah.
It's magic how their knees are all fixed, and Australia and New Zealand, like, actually, we might give this one a miss.
Do you know what the most concerning thing in that Australian-Tongan game for me was? Sione Katoa took that intercept and 6 people ran him down.
Yeah, he was very slow.
Very slow.
Sione Slotoa.
Yeah.
Kasloa. I like that better.
Yeah, Stone Street takes that intercept.
Yeah, he's gone.
He's gone.
That's what I tweeted, and I was just waiting for them. Not everything's about... Yes, it is about Stone
Yes,
Street.
it is. And if he was Tongan, he'd be on that one.
Yeah, exactly right.
So,
He
there
would
we
be.
are.
But speaking of Tonga, though,
Yeah.
they were magnificent.
Yeah, awesome.
They were beaten in the final, but...
What was a better performance through this whole tournament? The Tongan team or the Tongan crowd?
Oh, the crowd was magnificent. My word, I love the pre-game stuff. I know not everyone does, but I love it. And when they're singing hymns, and these are big scary dudes, and they're singing, you're like, God, I just want them to do. Then they score, and you're like, boo, the Tongans. And it's like, it made me care about international rugby league. So props to them, because Australia walk out and put 40 on most countries, including New Zealand. You're like, who cares? This sucks. That was magnificent. Congrats to both. But New Zealand with okay, I'm just going to call a spade a spade. A pretty terrible team walked New Guinea.
Yep. Yes.
Walked them. I understand New Guinea have to play teams like New Zealand Tonga and Samoa weren't always where they've been, but until some quality NRL players realise they got New Guinea in background, or you can do a Mitch Moses, no, I went to Lebanon, cool, you can play for them, they're not going to be competitive. These blowouts are going to happen. Now everyone was like, the rookie scored like 4 tries in debut, it's embarrassing. Okay, you look at the scoreline, it's pretty embarrassing. What's the alternative?
Was it Casey McLean? Did he score 4? That's cool.
What's the alternative? New Guinea just play...
the
Cook Islands and belt them by 50? Then what do the Cook Islands do? They go play Gaimea Gorillas. You have to play these games to get that going.
And this is what people don't realise. You can even take this back to the 2008 World Cup. Now, this is, this is
black and white territory.
This is stretching your memory back here on, big square TVs. But you got to remember the finals in that was New Zealand versus England, which was a close game, and Australia versus PNG. In the semi-final.
Yeah.
And Australia won that game 50-0.
Yeah.
They go out the next week and they get flogged by New Zealand. There's always going to be that gap between, let's say it now, the big 5 teams, because Samoa would pants them.
Yeah, they would.
Tonga would pants them. So, and I mean, no disrespect to the Kumals, because they don't give up.
No.
They go, they just don't have the talent pool there. Which makes me think that maybe an NRL team there in the future could be a good idea. It's just not a good idea right now.
Yeah, I agree.
But look, they're all heart. They're all fun. They beat Fiji. Everyone was expecting Fiji to win. They beat the Cook Islands. Everyone was expecting them to beat the Cook Islands, right? So they did what they had to do. They played that game against New Zealand. They didn't really have both teams had a lot to play for. Sean Johnson's last game, he was always going to put on a masterclass.
He was.
That was probably an extra 20 points for them.
Yeah, they were tremendous on the day. You look at the sides. A full-strength New Zealand team, it's 100-0. But that's not having a go at New Guinea. It just is what it is.
It is what it is.
If you want a World Cup with more than just the 5 teams in it, you have to have these teams play the better teams, because it's the only way they'll get better.
Yeah, I mean, you just need to have a look at the gap in it when we send over the Prime Minister's 13 with people like Fletcher Sharp from Newcastle, and anyone from Newcastle, and anyone from Canberra, and anyone from that's from the Titans, and they still beat them.
Yeah, convincingly.
So yeah,
it's going to take time.
It will take time, but just keep building international footy. Build international footy. Build it up. Let's just keep going. Dan, all I can see here are 2 words. This is for you.
Yep.
Brad Fittler. What's he done?
This past weekend, young Katoa playing exceptionally well for Tonga in the final of the
half?
Yep. The Pacific Championship. Brad Fittler said, I hope this guy isn't lost to Tonga. I hope he doesn't play for New South Wales. This is a bloke who coached New South Wales for way too many seasons and had guys like Jerome Luai, Crichton, To'o, Kolomatangi, Olakau'atu, I could go on. All played for Tonga or Samoa and New South Wales. So I just want to put it on record once again that Mr. Bradley Fittler, I also want to shut down that people think it's tier 1 is 3 teams, Australia, New Zealand, England. If you pick New Zealand, you can't play for New South Wales. That's why Tonga and Samoa have got the lift. They cannot change that. That cannot change for the next 5 years.
No.
Because you need origin quality players playing there. Otherwise, they're going to choose Australia, Samoa and Tonga fall back off.
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about the call from Mal Meninga, right? If that call came, hey, Samoa, you're now a tier 1 nation, so you can play for Samoa, but you can't play for New South Wales. Unfortunately, that's when I could see the 3 of them leaving Samoa to go and play for New South Wales and then play for Australia.
Absolutely.
And, like, no disrespect to Turbo and Hammer, but if Stephen Crichton's available, one of you is missing out.
Yeah.
And to the wingers, I don't even know who the Australian wingers were.
Lomax and whoever.
Xavier Coates?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
he's all right. We could
that's what
play
I was playing.
He could play for New Guinea.
Yeah.
And Lomax can probably play for England. I don't know. Who cares?
So...
when he's back in the centres, it won't worry anymore.
Yeah, the only one who probably wouldn't make the Australian team is Jerome Luai. And he's the better one out of them. Look, Fittler's never been real bright. And the fact that he's got the glowing endorsement behind Trent Barrett being picked for the New South Wales coach, the less said the better. Although in saying that, when I saw that today, that Trent Barrett was... his name's in the hat for the New South Wales coach, I liked it.
Yeah, as a Queenslander, I bet. Just to pivot real quickly before going too far off the edge, Dean Pay's come out and said, I'll do it, and everyone said, no, thank you. And then Andrew Voss, who I know he watches the show, I have to say, mate, you don't deserve the platform you have, brother. When you come out and said, I think Barrett can do it because he's played. He didn't even play Origin particularly well. And that doesn't translate because anytime he's coached, it's been an abject and total failure. Why do you hate the state? No, just wait for a proper coach. And Laurie Daly, I know you're also watching, get out. But anyways, back to what we were saying.
Bring Laurie Daly in.
They just... Brad Fittler, man.
Yep.
You coached. You picked these players and you still don't
Get
know
him
the
back
rules.
so he understands. Bring back Freddie. I'm starting the petition.
No.
2 players who don't know where they're playing next year
At
this time of recording. We're pretty sure that Ben Hunt will end up as a Sydney Rooster because a lot of the Queensland teams have gone cold, and he said that he's gone cold on a Broncos return, which to me says Brisbane can't pay him as much as the Roosters.
Yeah.
Josh Addo-Carr.
Yeah, there's a player who I expected to find a team rather quickly.
There is a player there where, like, good wingers are worth their weight in gold, right? Josh Addo-Carr was once the premier winger in the game.
Yep.
Now, off-field indiscretions, whatever, have taken a hit to his reputation.
They've added up.
Yeah. A couple of injuries here or there. He's getting older.
Yeah, of course.
But he's not getting slower.
No,
And even still, if he's slowing down, he's still faster than everyone.
That's true. But
How has he not got a team?
so there was talks that there were some background checks. I can't remember who the club was.
Parramatta.
Yeah, but they were calling former coaches. Now, there's a reason the Fox was held in huge regard at Cronulla. They let him go to the Tigers. Same there. They knew they had a player to let him go to Melbourne. Where I don't think it's any coincidence he played his best football because he had the game's best coach saying, oi.
And yeah, he had the game's best coach holding him into line and also holding off the media. Because if Craig Bellamy didn't want to talk to the media never got in.
Exactly. So, and let's be honest, what he did, exceptionally dumb. There are players that have done worse, and I don't mean that in a negative, I just mean that, let's be honest, players have done worse and walked into bigger contracts than the Fox will get. He's a winger, he's a fast winger. There's plenty of those. He's got off-field indiscretions. He's missed a lot of time through injury. It's going to add up. He's going to have to reevaluate and come back in. He's just been sacked by the Bulldogs. If they call Phil Gould, I guarantee he's not going to do what I do when I have to do reference checks. Oh, yeah, they were good. He's going to say, no, because it's Phil Gould, and the bloke is very upfront. I'm shocked he doesn't have a team because I would have thought one of these desperate teams would have thrown him big. But if it comes down to the Dragons or finding a trade, I think Fox should start labouring.
Yeah. There's two teams in desperate need of a winger at the moment, and that is St George and Parramatta.
Yep.
I would be shocked if he picked St George over Parramatta.
Yeah.
The way that the Parramatta's back, like, as a winger, you're going to be playing outside Zach Lomax or Will Penasini. Or if you go to St George, you know that whilst you might be lucky enough to play outside Valentine Holmes, your half-back is Kyle Flanagan.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Yeah, so at least you got Mitch Moses and Dylan Brown to fill that void. Fox as well, like, Parramatta is probably a really good shot for him as well, because Parramatta only have a one-game rookie fullback.
That's true.
I'd be sitting there saying, hey, don't forget about me. I'm quick.
Yeah.
I'm good under the high ball.
Let's go.
Let's go. Let's do this.
There's a fair bit going on now that the Kings moved to the Dragons. You gotta imagine there's a bit of money there.
Yeah.
You gotta imagine the Dragons probably think, we got one former Origin player, let's get another one.
Well, I mean, the Dragons' recruitment has been okay-ish.
If they didn't lose their halfback, if they didn't have a recognised, if they had one recognised half, I'd be a lot more
positive.
Yeah, and you think their best player last year was probably Jacob Little.
Yep.
And he's probably going to play less because of Damien Cook.
Because of Damien Cook, yeah.
Yeah, I hate the Dragons, but I don't mean to bag them, even though they're terrible.
Mm-hmm. But look, it'll be interesting when we catch up on this couch in 2 weeks to see where those players, Ben Hunt, Fox, Terrell May, anyone else, like... I reckon 3 more players are going to get tapped on the shoulder by the time that we've...
Yeah, plenty of players still to find homes. You still got the Teague Wiltons of this world. Wouldn't you be in for Teague Wilton if you're one of these clubs, saying, this kid's going to play Origin one day, let's get ahead of it?
Hopefully not.
No, me neither, because I want him at Cronulla, but they're chasing 60-year-old fullbacks and they can't... Did you see people say they wouldn't bend the knee to Gutho? Ironic, he can't bend his knees.
Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Rugby League Outlaws, brought to you by the good people of Top Sport. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Please subscribe.
Dan.
Please subscribe.
This is the
penultimate?
This is the end.
Could be.
Could be. Until
if you don't see us for a couple of weeks, nothing's happened.
Yeah. Look, we will be back here if there is anything breaking, if anything stupid happens, if Brad Fittler is announced as the Origin coach.
I'll be right back here by myself.
We'll be right back here. Other than that, make sure you hit that like button.
And subscribe.
Please. We're begging. Dan will give you money.